Hi, this is Rasika. Today I am going to present about power electronics. So what is meant by power electronics? Power electronics is nothing but it is a conversion of electric energy from one form to another form. And it is also a combination of some semiconducting devices as well as some passive components which include transformer, inductor and capacitor. So this transformer is nothing but it performs some step up and step down process, and inductor which stores the energy in the form of a magnetic field, and capacitor which stores the energy in the form of an electric field. And in power electronics, the input and output may be an AC or DC, but it differs only in magnitude as well as in frequency. So coming to history of power devices, this bipolar transistor which has been invented in the year 1948, and power BGT is nothing but bipolar junction transistor which has been invented in the year 1960, and power MOSFET is nothing but metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor which has been invented in the year 1970, and power MOSFET which has some specifications like 400 volt and 25 amps. This has been invented in the year 1978. And IGBT is nothing but insulated gate bipolar junction transistor which has been invented in the year 1990, and this IGBT is the combination of MOSFET as well as BGTs. So it consists of one MOSFET and two BGTs. Next we are going to see about a graphical analysis of these power semiconducting devices. So first coming to this thyristor has a frequency range of about 10 to 1 kHz and power rating of about some 100 to 10 MHz. And this thyristor can be implemented in power transmission system. And GTO is nothing but gate turn-off thyristor which has a frequency range of about some 100 to 10 kHz. And power rating is from 1 megahertz to 1 megavolt to 10 megavolt, where this can be applied in some industrial purposes and also in UPS and also in some motor drivers. And IGBT, which is insulated gate bipolar transistor, which has a frequency range of about 1 kHz to 15 kHz, and power rating varies from 10 to 1 megavolt, which has been used in the application of robot, welding machine as well as some automotive industries. And coming to MOSFET, here the frequency varies from some 15 kHz to 150 kHz, and its power is also very low, and it varies from some 10 to 1 kilovolt, where it can be used in some home appliances as well as in computers, digital products, etc. So first thing next we are going to see about two-terminal devices and three-terminal devices. Here first thing is pin diode. This pin diode is a two-terminal devices which works with a voltage greater than 300 volt. And next we are going to see is Schottky diode. This is a two-terminal diode which consists of an anode that is positive and cathode that is negative. This anode part is made up of a metal, and this cathode part is made up of some solid state material, and this works with an voltage some less than 300 volt. And coming to three-terminal devices, first thing is bipolar junction transistor. This is also a three-terminal device. And MOSFET, this works with an voltage less than 300 volt, and it is also a very fast switching devices. And IGBT, this is insulated gate bipolar transistor which is a combination of MOSFET as well as BGT, which works with a voltage greater than 300 volt. And thyristor, this thyristor which consists of a gate turn-off thyristor, insulated gate bipolar transistor and MOS control transistor. And this thyristor which has been used in very high voltage applications. Next we are going to see about power electronics classification, that is we are going to see about power electronics semiconductor devices. First we are going to see is diode. This diode is a two-terminal devices which consists of anode positive and cathode negative. And this is a unipolar uncontrolled switching devices which has been used for some rectification purposes. Its reverse voltage source is of about 0.7 volt DC, and it consists of two junction layers like P junction and N junction, in which this P is connected to a positive terminal and this N junction which has been connected to a negative terminal. So this diode consists of two terminal devices. This is of about diode. anode, cathode, as well as some gate. So, according to the gate pulse applied, if the anode is positive and the cathode is negative, then the device gets switched on. And if according to the gate pulse applied, if anode is negative and cathode is positive, then the then the device gets switched off. So this is a bidirectional switching device which performs on operation as well as off operation. Next, coming to thyristor. This thyristor constitutes of the silicon control rectifier, gate turn off thyristor as well as MOS control transistor. This thyristor, it is also in 3-terminal devices like anode, cathode as well as gate. So according to the gate pulse applied, if the anode is positive and cathode is negative, then the device gets switched on. In thyristor, we can only switch on the devices. Once if we switch on the devices, it is not possible to switch off the devices. So this is a unidirectional function where we can perform only switch on. And next thing we are going to see is of about gate turn off thyristor. It is also a 3-terminal devices which consists of anode, cathode as well as gate pulse. So here we are going to see about circuit diagram. So this is the circuit diagram where it consists of anode, gate, cathode. So if the current from gate to cathode is positive, then the device gets switched off. When if the gate to cathode current is negative, then the device gets switched off. So this is also a bidirectional switching devices which performs on-off function, and the magnitude of this gate turn off thyristor is of about 1/3. And coming to triarc, this triarc, it is also an 3-terminal devices which looks like an inverse parallel. It is in the shape of inverse parallel, and it is a bipolar and reverse voltage device. Here we are going to classify as 4 quadrants. This is the circuit diagram. So this is first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, and this is fourth quadrant. In which this first quadrant will be most sensitive and this last quadrant is least sensitive. In which if first and second quadrant, in which this anode 2 is, if the anode 2 is positive, then the current flows from anode 2 to anode 1. That is, it consists of 4 layers like PN, which has been connected to the anode 2 as well as anode 1. So the current flows from A2 to A1. In the quadrant 3rd and 4th, if anode 2 is negative, then the current flows in an upward direction, that is from anode 1 to anode 2. So in these layers, the current follows in NP region. So this is of about triarc. This is also a bidirectional device which can perform on and off. Next we are going to see about bipolar junction transistor. This bipolar junction transistor which constitutes PNP region as well as NPN region. So this is PNP region, gate, base, emitter. This is NPN transistor. So if the current from gate to emitter is positive, then the current flows from emitter to current. And in this PNP region, if we have to make this base current to pull to low resistance to flow the current, so the device gets switched on. It also consists of, in PNP region, it consists of 2 P layers with 1 N junction, which has been connected to emitter, base, collector. And in this NPN transistor, which consists of 2 N layers with 1 P junction. So this is of a bipolar junction transistor, and this has a voltage range of about some 1500 volt, and it is also limited and this voltage is also limited around 5 volt. So this is of bipolar junction transistor.
What is latching current?
Sir?
What is latching current?
Next we are going to see is power MOSFET. power MOSFET, in this here we don't not need any current for some conduction part, and the switching time ranges from some nanoseconds to some microseconds, and it has some normal voltage of about 1000 volt, and current, that is I, it tends to 100 amps. And this MOSFET devices, it is not a bidirectional devices, it is a unidirectional devices where it can perform only switch on function. So it is also consists of an N region, P region. It has been connected to source, gate as well as drain. Next we are going to see about insulated gate bipolar transistor. This IGBT is a combination of MOSFET as well as BJT. So this is a circuit diagram which has been MOSFET. It is a metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor which performs switching functions, and this is a bidirectional device which can switch on as well as switch off. And this has been connected to drain region to one BGT like NPN BGT and other BGT like PNP BGT. This is the body region. So this IGBT, which is combination of MOSFET as well as BGT, like this is constituted of one MOSFET and two BGTs, and it has a current of some excess of about 1500 amps, and switching voltage, it has some switching voltages which comprises of some 3000 volt. Next, we are going to see about MOS control thyristor. This is of 3-terminal devices which has an anode, cathode as well as gate. And this MOS control devices constitute of 2 MOSFET plus 2 BGTs. So coming to circuit diagram, it is connected with one NPN transistor with other PNP transistor. So it consists of one NPN region, one PNP region. This is 2 BJT and one MOSFET which performs switching function, and other MOSFET. If one MOSFET gets switched on, then other gets switched off. And it also undergoes positive and negative cycles, and benefit of this MOS control thyristor is has many switching frequencies, and this current rating of this MOS control devices is of about some 100 amps. Next is integrated gate commutated thyristor. This is also a 3-terminal devices which consists of anode, cathode and gate. It has some high input impedances as well as some low resistance, and it also it doesn't waste any power, and high switching. It also has some high switching voltage as well as some current, and this IGCT capable of switching excess of current like of about 5000 volt AC, and its frequencies, that is the current level of this integrated gate commutated thyristor is of about 5000 amps. And next thing here, we are going to classify this power electronics as power semiconducting devices, power conversion, power supplies as well as converter control of machines. So here we are going to see this thyristor and triarc. So this thyristor can be classified as converter grade as well as inverter grade. Converter gate is just nothing but it is used for some slow type as well as in natural commutation purposes, and inverter gate is nothing but it is used for some forced commutation purposes. And here the voltage drop is between 1.5 volt to some about 2 volt, and the current rating is of about 3 volt. This is the forward conduction path. This path is called forward conduction path, and this is called as reverse conduction path. This is called as holding current. Holding current is nothing but it is the minimum amount of current that has been passed to these power semiconductor devices to make the semiconductor devices to switch on. And avalanche breakdown. Avalanche breakdown is the region. It takes place in both insulating material as well as in semiconducting materials. the point where the electric current start multiply, we call that region as an avalanche breakdown region. And coming to gate turn off thyristor, here it also performs a bidirectional function like switching on and switching off.
What does mean by avalanche effect?
Yes, avalanche effect, it takes place both in insulating as well as semiconducting material, and it is a point where the electric current starts multiply. And coming to it has this gate turn off thyristor which has a high current of about 2000 amps, and it has also high reverse current of about 5000 amps. So this is the characteristic waveform of this gate turn off thyristor, and this point we call it as spike voltage. Spike voltage is nothing but short duration of electrical transient in voltage level. We call that point as a spike voltage. Next, we are going to see about reverse conducting thyristor and asymmetrical silicon control thyristor. So coming to reverse control thyristor, this has been used in some traction drivers, and it also has some limited voltage of about 1 to 2 volt, and it also, here we are also using snubber circuit. Snubber circuit is nothing but it is used to eliminate some voltage as well as some current peaks. It is also used for some protection. And asymmetrical silicon control devices, it has some forward blocking capability, and it has some limited reverse blocking voltage of about 20 to 30 volt. And the gate assisted turn off techniques can be implemented in order to reduce some turn off time. Next, here we are going to see about power converter. Power converter, here it takes place in two types, AC to DC. Phase controlled converter, this is AC to AC, which is cyclo converters, and DC to DC converter, which is called as inverters, and DC to AC, and DC to DC converters, which is called as chopper, buck, and boost. So first here we are going to see about AC to DC conversion. In this AC to DC conversion, first we are going to apply an sinusoidal waveform of about Em sin omega t, where this Em is an amplitude and this omega t is in phase, which has been connected to a thyristor 1, and it is also connected to some freewheeling diode, that is DF, which has been connected across resistor as well as inductance. The circuit diagram of this freewheeling diode is, it consists of some sinusoidal waveform, that is input voltage source connected with resistor, inductance, in which across it has been connected to a freewheeling diode. It also consists of some switching devices. This freewheeling diode is used in order to avoid some voltage leakage. So in this half wave rectifier, for an angle alpha, we will get the output like this, and it also produces some voltage leakage. So in order to avoid this voltage leakage, we are using a freewheeling diode over here, and in full wave rectification, here we are using a 2 thyristor in which the load is connected to this transformer, where for an angle alpha, we get the output like this. This is of half wave rectification, and this is of about full wave rectification. And next we are going to see about cyclo converters. Here we can convert the AC supply to DC, again from DC to AC, and also we can convert AC supply directly to an AC supply. For example, in induction motor, we are going to convert a 3-phase AC supply into an DC. Again, by using a 3-phase inverter, we are going to convert this DC supply into an AC so that the induction motor starts running. Coming to AC to AC converter, here one example, here we are using this of about matrix converter, which has 3-phase input, which produces the output. It is also connected to a node. This node, which consists of bidirectional switches. Bidirectional switches is a concept of some power semiconducting devices. Like here we have used IGBT, which has been connected to one freewheeling diode, which has been connected with 4 diodes. And coming to applications of this AC to AC, it has been used in many large machine drives. And coming to DC to AC, that is inverter. Here we are going to apply a voltage level of VD where it gets divided into two, like plus VD by 2 as well as minus VD by 2. In plus VD by 2, if the current flows in this plus VD by 2, then this thyristor, that is TA plus, gets switched on and TA minus gets switched off, and this diode starts conducting. So we will get the output like this in positive half, that is plus VD by 2. And if the current flows in this minus VD by 2 direction, then thyristor TA minus gets switched on and thyristor TA plus gets switched off, and this diode starts conducting where we will get the output in a negative direction, that is minus VD by 2. So we call this total wavelength as plus VD. And in three-phase inverter, here we are going to apply a voltage level which gets divided into plus VD by 2 as well as minus VD by 2. Here we will get a combination of three output. Like in output A, we will get a 360 degree phase shift. So the waveform will be like this. And at the combination of B, we will get an 180 degree phase shift where the output will be like this. And in the combination of C, we will get the output in the phase shift of 120 degree where the output will be like this. So this is of about DC to AC inverter, where this DC to AC inverter which has been used in application of in some UPS as well as some grid connection. Next here we are going to see about DC to DC converter, that is buck converter. This buck converter is to step down some voltage level. If you are going to give an input here, this thyristor gets switched on and this inductor will store some energy and a corresponding output has been produced. For example, in batteries which consists of high voltage level that can be stepped down by using this buck converter. So at the period T on, this thyristor gets switched on and corresponding output will be produced. So the output will be like this: V out, that is equal to D into V1. This D is nothing but it is a duty cycle where D equal to T on divided by T on plus T off. T on is nothing but on period and T off is nothing but off period. So this boost converter is nothing but it performs the action of step up. That is, once if you are going to apply an voltage, this thyristor gets switched on and this inductor which already stores some energy adds with this source and forces the current to flow in this diode and boost up the current. So this is used to perform some step up operation. And buck boost converter, this performs combination of both buck as well as boost. That is, first it performs step down operation. Like if you see, this is like buck converter circuit diagram where it will step down the current and next boost it will boost up the current and it produces the corresponding output. And next here we are going to see about application of power electronics converter. This is the block diagram where we are going to give some input to the power electronic converter devices. This power electronic devices may be a MOSFET, IGCT, GTO, etc. And where the output from this power electronic converter is given to a load. So from there it has been given to a controller where this controller will send some control signals to this power electronic converter which produces some corresponding output over here. And coming to computer power supply, here we are going to send 120 volt 60 Hz power supply to rectifier. Rectifier is nothing but it is used to convert AC to DC and which has been converted to a capacitor which stores some energy, and it is converted to a power semiconductor devices which has been combined to this resonator load circuit. The output from this which has been given to the controller. So this controller will convert the DC current and process in some control signals to this power semiconducting devices where we will get a different voltages of about 12 volt DC, 5 volt DC as well as 5 volt DC. And this power electronics which has been also used in some battery charging purposes in telecommunication, electric and hybrid vehicles as well as in portable electronic and energy storage. And this takes place in three modes of operation. At constant current it will be in a very low state, and at constant voltage it is of about 80% state of changing, and flow dot trickle at this position it reaches to an open circuit voltage. So this power electronics can battery charging purpose. And coming to flexible AC transmission system, it can be classified as four. Like this is the generation part, this is transmission part, this is distribution part, and this is end use. Where in generation part, it consists of an SSB. SSB is nothing but solid state breaker. This solid state breaker, which is used to connect some complex load, as well as it is used in some multiple feeding purposes. It also acts like a short circuit breakage. And this is HVDC. HVDC is nothing but heavy voltage direct current. This has been connected to this generator, and this HVDC and SSB, which combines in this power semiconducting devices and has been fed to this transmission line. And UPLC. UPLC is nothing but Unified Power Flow Controller. This Unified Power Flow Controller, which is used to maintain some power parameters like voltage, temperature, current, magnitude, phase, etc. And this also performs the function of a combination of both STATCOM. STATCOM is nothing but static compensator, as well as SSSC. SSSC is synchronous static series compensator. And coming to STATCOM, this static compensator, it is connected to the mid of these two buses, which is used to provide the voltage level in phase. And this has been fed to SSB, and from there it has been fed to DVR. DVR is nothing but dynamic voltage restorer. This dynamic voltage restorer, from input there will be some voltage disturbances. So in this DVR, we can reduce this voltage disturbances. This DVR circuit consists of an IGBT. This IGBT consists of a high bandwidth. If the circuit has a high bandwidth, then we can reduce this voltage disturbances. And coming to microgrid, this microgrid is used to control some transmission congestion over here. So from this distribution part, we are sending to some home appliances, that is the end use, where we will get 122 to 240 volt power supply. And coming to fuel cell connection to the grid, here the fuel cell, which has been connected to unseated DC to DC converter. Here we are going to convert the DC supply into an AC. Here we are going to place capacitor in the input side. Since this fuel cell consists of a limited current, so in order to boost up this current, we are using the capacitor. And in this split phase inverter, where we are going to split the DC current into an AC, and we are going to get a 3-phase output. And coming to fluorescent lamps and solid state lighting, this power electronics, which has been also implemented in fluorescent lamp, which consists of an electronic ballast, and also it can be implemented in series of LEDs. And coming to grid connection of doubly-fed induction generator, here from this wind turbine, we are going to extract some energy in the wind flow. Here the static winding, which has been connected to this grid side 3-phase inverter, and it also consists of a rotor side 3-phase inverter. In this rotor side 3-phase inverter, here we are going to control some amount of current. So by controlling this some amount of current, this wind turbine starts rotate, and here we can extract the energy by blowing the wind. So this is about grid connection of a doubly fed induction generator. And coming to some automatic application, it can be used in some hybrid electric vehicle, and it can also be used for some high acceleration and power derived from both engine as well as battery. If the battery gets charged, the speed will also get raised, and if any braking occurs over that, then the energy is again fed back to this battery. And this power electronics can also be applied in this type of application. This is about power electronics, and if you guys have any queries, please ask to me.
Why thyristor is considered as a charge control device?
Yes, in thyristor we are going to use this gate pulse. This gate pulse will control the amount of charge that is flowing through this device. So that's why we call this thyristor as a current control device.
What is holding current?
Holding current, I have mentioned the holding current over here. This holding current is nothing but it is the minimum amount of current that is required to pass to the semiconducting device in order to make the semiconducting device to on.
What is latching current?
Latching current, it is also a minimum amount of current, that is where we are passing that current to this thyristor in order to make this thyristor to an on state from its off state.
Then what is the difference between holding and this?
In holding current, we can hold the current and it is a minimum around current which has been passed through the semiconducting devices. In latching current, this is the waveform of this latching current, where here we are going to apply an gate pulse. So the point from here to here, this is the small amount of current where we are passing through this thyristor in order to make this thyristor to on.
What are the different losses that occur in thyristor while operating?
Losses like switching losses, some leakage in current losses, gate triggering losses, forward conduction losses. These are the losses which occurs in this thyristor.
What IGBT is popular nowadays?
Because in IGBT it consumes very low power and heat requirement is also very less, and here we are using a snubber circuit. In IGBT we are using a small snubber circuit, so that's why.
What is snubber circuit?
Snubber circuit, this is used to control, that is, it is used for protection as well as it also eliminates some voltage as well as current peaks. That's why we are using this snubber circuit in this IGBT.
Can you able to draw the snubber circuit?
Yes. This is the voltage source where it has been fed to an MOSFET connected with a freewheeling diode with one resistance, inductance, and this is the output. So this part is called a snubber circuit.
What is the difference between power diode and signal diode actually?
In power diode consists of a current, power as well as voltage. All these levels will be very high in power diode. But in signal diode, these voltage, current and power will be very low. And these power diodes, it also performs high speed. It is very high speed device. This signal diode, it performs very high switching speed. Actually, this power diode we use where voltage is very high, and in a signal diode where frequency is very high.
What are different methodologies to turn on the thyristor? What are the different methods to turn on the thyristor?
We are going to use some different methods like forward voltage triggering, gate triggering, dV divided by dt triggering, switching triggering, light triggering. So these are the methods we are going to turn on this thyristor. I hope you guys have clarified your doubts. Thanks for your patience and listening. Thank you.